Hello everyone, welcome to another week's live. It's been a few weeks since I've done one, but I'm back from VeeCon, back from the US, so I thought I'd jump on here and I'm going to talk about all things VeeCon tonight, and then I'll touch on the exciting stuff that happens for an accountant and in the accounting industry at the end of June, and then obviously into July. We're getting into the busy time, the crazy time. It's awesome. We've got lots going on, so it's been pretty cool. So Chris is here. Yo, made it. Thanks. Chris still wasn't sure if he's going to make it, but he's managed to swing by, so I do appreciate that. So, like I said, I'm going to be checking out VeeCon. You'll see I've got my, before I hide that, I've got my VeeCon merch shirt on here at the moment. I'm going to be talking about my trip to VeeCon. So if you haven't already, I've got my vlog that I did come out Monday on my trip to VeeCon. So I managed to capture a bit of footage. It's always one of those things, you go away for these things and you just wish you'd captured even more footage. But yeah, got some footage there of the trip. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about the trip, talk about some of the speakers, talk about some of the community things, talk about America in general, talk about some of the lessons I've taken from it, what I'm going to implement within the business, within the NFT project. And then I've got some questions that people asked on Instagram and on Discord, so I'll answer some of them. And then I will also, if you've got questions, want to ask them, whether it's about VeeCon, whether it's about NFTs, whether it's about GaryVee himself. If you didn't see, I did get to meet GaryVee, which was awesome. Or if you've got questions about the US, I've got some questions that people ask about my thoughts on America, which was quite interesting. So, yeah, I'll chat about all those things. We've got the disgruntled octopus here. Once again, a severe lack of donuts. Yeah, I had donuts the last 2 nights, so sorry I didn't share with you guys. I do have stickers, though, whether that helps. Got some of the VeeCon stickers that I did capture, whether they... Yep, so we've got some of them, but I don't have donuts on me. So... Hey, how's it going? Captain Nutshot Nerd. G'day. I'm good, thanks. I hope you're going well. Hope all of those that are in the reselling world, things are going well and treating you guys well. So yeah, VeeCon. What an awesome experience. Highly recommend anyone that is like interested in business or community or networking, NFTs, crypto, anything like that. Would highly recommend any of you to go and check out VeeCon over the next couple of years. I'm not sure where it's going to be next, but if you can get yourself a ticket, honestly, it was well worth the time, the money, the effort. Yeah, definitely. So, Octopus, I can tell looks like you're still losing the America weight. Yeah. That's something I'm going to get to it. But America, the what we hear about the foods in America was the biggest lie I've ever been told when I went there. Now, it might be just my experience, but anyway. So really cool experience, really worthwhile. I think the connections I made, some of the speakers I listened to, etc., was so worth it. Well worth every dollar that I spent to go over there. And really cool experience, good to get away, all those fun things. So conference was really good. It was over 3 days. So, and then the welcome party was the Thursday night, all day Friday, all day Saturday, and then most of the day Sunday. They had concerts Friday, Saturday night, happy hours. There was food, plenty of stuff going on. So many different things going on across the whole stadium. So it was in Minneapolis at the US Bank Stadium, which the stadium itself is only about 3 or 4 years old. So that was really cool to see a really modern stadium. Really well designed, has a roof on it. So one of the days was, I think, about 10 degrees Celsius. And you wouldn't have known. I had a jumper on, took it off, and you just did not need it. It was really warm in there. And obviously, Minneapolis gets incredibly cold in the winter, so it's designed for that. Really awesome looking stadium from the ground level. Like, it just looks like it tears up above you. Would have loved to be in there for a Viking games when they have 70,000 people in there. Really cool. And it was really awesome. You were able to just wander around so many back areas of the stadium, since, sections that I think would normally be VIP rooms, etc. You could just wander nearly the whole stadium down play. So it was really cool to experience that. You don't normally get that, obviously, if you're going to a sporting event. You go into your seat and that's it. So it was really cool just being able to explore the whole stadium. And there was lots of cool little things set off to the sides. And yeah, they had ceramic models of all the V friends, which you'll see in the video I've done. But yeah, some really cool different experiences there. So obviously, one of the main things of the conference were the speakers. So there was a range of different speakers, from obviously Gary himself. We had Snoop Dogg. We had Pharrell Williams, Tess Green, Eva Longoria, Mila Kunis. Then you had people in the NFT space, Beeple, Ferocious, like a range of different people. And it was really cool to listen to all different people. But the highlight outside of Gary himself would have had to been Jesse Itzler. His story and his speaking ability is just amazing. Like, the way he captures an audience from start to finish. He was on a side stage, so not everyone got to see him. It was only about 750 of us in the room, and just blown away. Like, amazing speech. I think it actually may be on YouTube, some of it. So if anyone's interested in it, I might drop it in the Discord because it was just well and truly like it was amazing. He just captivated everyone that was in there, had glued to every single word he was saying. Really good, top quality speaker. And if you haven't listened to Jesse at all before, definitely would recommend people go and check him out. There were some other great speakers, obviously, Gary himself, some great things. Seth Green was really interesting to me, really interesting mindset. He had his Bored Ape stolen 2 or 3 days before the conference, so he did talk about that and security and stuff. And there was so many different side stages, I think there's about 150 speakers across in total. People talking about from really small projects or different, talking about security, blockchain, etc., all the way up to, big names, actors and stuff that have come into the space. So really, really good lineup of speakers, and there was something for everyone kind of thing. It was really interesting to listen to, some of the projects I didn't know as much about. We had, I can't think of what it's called. We had things like World Women and things like that people were there to talk about. Obviously, Beeple was quite interesting, and there was announced a collab for the gift goat holders for VeeCon, for VeeFriends. So they're getting a Beeple collab, which is very exciting for them. There's Snoop Dogg. There was a collab for the people that hold VeeCon tickets. So I actually walked out of VeeCon and my ticket for VeeCon was worth more than when I left. So just in the Snoop Dogg talk alone, when they announced this, the price of the VeeCon tickets about 4x in a 5-minute period. So this is the crazy stuff that can happen in NFTs. You can add utility to tickets to events that have already happened. And I don't sure if people have quite clicked that that's how this technology could work. And it's really mind-blowing that, I think so many businesses are going to be able to use it as a way to build long-term community and long-term connection with their community. So that leads me into the community itself. And I was just blown away by how nice the people were and how friendly it was. It's, I hadn't met a single person in person that was going to VeeCon. And from the moment I landed in LA, I ran into 6 other Australians that had been on the same flight as me, flying from Sydney to LA. And it was like we'd known each other for a lifetime. We hung out for the rest of the day. We were on the same connecting flight to Minneapolis. So it was just like a really cool experience where it was like we were lifelong friends. And that was a really cool thing because, traveling by yourself, first time I'd been on a flight overseas, first time I'd obviously been to America, and to be able to meet people that I didn't know going into it was really cool that you met them, you had chatted. I hadn't even spoke to any of these people really online. I think one was actually in my Discord. Shout out to Pam and Brenda. But yeah, it was really cool. We met these people, got to chat to them, got to learn about what they're doing, how long they've been in the space, such a range of people. The age range across all of VeeCon was great. There was 21-year-old kids there that have just started and got way more NFTs and capital in the market than what I do, through to, people that have retired and then have decided to dabble in the space. So it was really cool. But the community was just so strong that everywhere you go, if they seen you were wearing VeeCon merch, you just have a conversation with someone no matter where you were, whether that was at the airport, whether it was at the mall, or whether it was at a restaurant. Like the last day we were at a bar having food and drinks, and 2 people walked in with VeeCon merch and they sat with us, 2 Americans, and we spent the rest of the day with them for the rest of the night. Like that was just a community that you got. So it's like I've already made connections, chatted with a few people I met there, and it's like got to meet people from all over America, obviously Australia. Met, there's people there from New Zealand, people from Ireland. I met a couple from Uzbekistan. Like it was like from so many different places across the world, but it was just like everyone had that common thing of VeeFriends. And I think that allowed everyone to straight away, it was an easy conversation. Oh, were you involved in VeeFriends? Do you have a VeeFriend one? Got to meet lots of people that minted VeeFriends on the first day like I did. So it was really cool. And everyone was so welcoming of anyone and everyone, which was a really cool experience. So we want to know the answer to the hard-hitting question. Did you shirt front GaryVee for the donuts? Well, he didn't have any donuts. I didn't need a shirt front him, but I don't know whether you would have wanted a shirt front him. He finally had a little bit of security around him because he definitely spent a lot of time doing selfies and stuff like that. So GaryVee sounds more appealing than our beloved octopus. So the community was just amazing, and that was one of the best things about it. So that was really cool. So some of the other things I'll get into about it. The USA in general, quite interesting, very similar to Australia in a lot of ways, just some slight differences. For instance, when you order a burger there, they do ask you how you want it done, like you would ask for a steak here. So a bit of interesting where you kind of give them a bit of a blank look when you get asked that. One of the weird things I found is that when you line up to go to a pedestrian crossing, there's no noises. It just goes green, so you just have to be watching. just little things like that. Obviously, the paper money, the tipping culture takes a while to get used to. So you definitely learn that. The exchange rate's pretty horrible when you're trying to then work out what things cost. So I think at the stadium it was about $6 US plus a tip, so probably closer to $7 US for a bottle of water. Gatorades were, I think, $8 or $9 US. So you did pay for that. Just depends where you were. It's no different to a stadium here. You pay up for things. Airports are obviously expensive. Restaurants were probably similar. So yeah, it was a cool experience going to the US. I obviously didn't get to do a lot or explore a huge amount. But yeah, very similar, I'd say, to Australia, but slightly different. And I've got a few questions, so I'll go through those when I get there. And then, yeah, the lessons I learned from it is I learned that networking is so important. It's probably something I'm not doing enough of. So it's like those network connections and building, you just don't know what the person next to you may be doing. So it's something I'm trying to do is reach out to more people, have those conversations. You never know where you may be able to mutually help each other or just have a conversation. Like some of the people I met, maybe there's no business, connection there, but we've maybe become friends, and have a common thing in NFTs that we can chat about. So I think that was one of the cool things is realizing that power of connection. And, we've been, obviously a lot of people have been locked at home for so long over the last couple of years that I think that face-to-face connection is really important, especially in business and especially with so many of us that are now, sole traders working by themselves. To have those connections was really important to me because I do spend a lot of time, in the office at home. So it was good to go out and meet people and talk business stuff because you don't always get that. Or, one of my clients was at VeeCon, so we got to chat and meet for the first time. So that was really cool. So that was one of the cool things, one of the lessons I learned. The other thing was I definitely learned a lot about NFTs and stuff in general about, what makes good projects. I got to speak to a few people that have significant holdings in this space. So, pick their brain on security, what they look for in projects, what, not only for my own project, but for me as an investor and for me educating people in this space, trying to understand, well, what are people, and it was very clear. The biggest lesson I learned is that there's so much demand for accounting work and tax work. And multiple people asked me from multiple countries when I'd explain what I do, was there any chance I could help them? Like people are desperate for this help in this space and there's not enough professional help in it. So yeah, I think it made me really realize that, my project of Rooshock's, there's definitely so much potential there. And it's about me harnessing that and putting it in a way that makes sense that, shows the value. And, I have a look at the moment with the price of ETH and stuff, and it's crazy what the value that I'm hopefully to provide with the services. But when I explained it to people, they were like, oh, wow, this is really unique. So it was really reaffirmed that I've got a unique idea there. It is providing value. And now it's just a matter of marketing that and explaining that to people to show them so that I can help them with stuff and, provide value. Obviously, it helps me with the project, etc. So that was really exciting. That was one of the biggest lessons. So it was really the community and the path that I'm on with the NFT project is definitely the right one. So yeah, which is some of the lessons. So I'll jump into some of the questions. If I was Gary, I'd have everyone dress up in blue overalls and paint themselves yellow. Well, yeah, I did see a guy walking around with a giant inflatable duck, and I also seen someone dressed as the empathy elephant. So we had a few dress ups there. There was definitely some different people there that were willing to express themselves in different ways, which was cool. So, Chris, you do have a solid NFT and intent. Yeah, and that's the thing is that I think intent shines through. That it was like, if you got the right intentions, I think that was what was really good about the community there is everyone really felt like they did have genuine good intentions. There wasn't really anyone I met that was just out there to shill anything. Like everyone was more like ask what someone else does rather than tell them what they do, which I thought was really good. So is there anything behind the 5 you're holding up with yourself with GaryVee? Yeah, Gary's thing is the 5. He loves the number 5, favorite number. So he will quite often put the 5 up. And yeah, most people that take selfies with him, that seems to be the way to go. So I'll go through some of these questions. So the first one was, what does Gary's hand feel like? Look, the meeting with Gary was pretty surreal. It goes pretty quick. Like we lined up for a couple hours. We lined up at the welcome party because we were just standing around having a few drinks and we thought we might as well line up. And we didn't get to meet him that night and lined up on the day 2 of the conference. And yeah, you don't get a lot of time. But the one thing I did notice with him is he was really present in the moment, like really took in, asked me what my name was really listening and, really felt like he was actually interested in meeting every single person. It wasn't just a tick, 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 tick. He really was giving time to people and actually there with them in the moment, not just a handshake. And you could tell he was disinterested. He looks you in the eye, understands. And I think that's one of the biggest things in growing successful businesses, which obviously he has, is being there and actually generally in the conversation and being present in the moment with whether it's a client, whether it's a customer, whether it's a business acquaintance, anything like that. If you're not present there, then I don't think you're going to be able to connect with people and build those long-term business relationships. So yeah, that was my experience with me and Gary. It was really good. Really, look, for me, I was going over there, something I wanted to do. Like, I know a lot of people, think it's stupid, but for me, it was important for me to thank him in person for everything he's done for me. I've consumed so much of his content. I've learned so much. So for me, it wasn't necessarily about me, wanting to meet him for, oh, cool, I've met Gary. It was about, I want to thank this person for everything they've done. And that was the main thing I said to him, thanked him for everything he's done. His stuff has been life-changing for me. So I did really appreciate everything he does. So do you find that the Australian market is too limited in regards to the NFT project? Would it be via option to link up with US, UK accounts to build the project overseas? Yeah, there's a lot of thought I'm putting into the project about how I can expand it on a global basis. So yeah, I definitely have a lot of thoughts about that because I want to be able to connect with more people. There's definitely a market. Look, there's thousands of people in Australia that are involved in the crypto and NFT space, and my project does also cater for people that aren't in the space. But I'm definitely giving a lot of thought about how can I expand things out? How would I do things differently? Because I do want to be able to, there's such a market there for at a global audience, and it's just about me. Obviously, I can't do a US-based tax return, but I'm trying to look at ways that I can incorporate that. And it's just a matter of working out how that works from a cost basis, etc. So, looking at what other areas can I help people overseas, with tracking, whether it's, working in crypto software, understanding that side. So yeah, definitely great question and definitely something I'm looking at. And, there's a few things I'm looking at revamping with some of the utility on the NFTs that I've got. We're getting, I had a couple sell again the other day. We're getting that steady flow of people joining the project. But obviously I want to keep fast tracking that. I want to sell more. I want to keep selling. I want to sell out. And then want to plan, okay, well, what can we do next to keep bringing utility to those people that hold them? So, yeah, definitely looking at that. So, great question. Really appreciate the feedback or thoughts. So, what was the most surprising thing to you about seeing the US in person? So, yeah, I didn't see a huge amount of the US, but I was actually quite surprised, and this will lead into, I might lead this into the second question here as well. What were the people and the food like outside the conference? So, the two things that kind of surprised me most about the US is one, everyone talks about how big the meals are going to be and how big the food's going to be. And where I went, that wasn't true. If anything, the meals are probably actually smaller than what we get here in Australia. So everyone does always talk about, how big the foods are. Or I only heard about people that went not long ago and how rude the people were. But outside of, when you get to customs, you get drilled. That's their job. They're trying to make sure that you're there doing the right thing. But the American people I dealt with were really friendly. Minneapolis was a really friendly town. Like, people were willing to chat to you, the locals were friendly. They were asking questions, the ones that didn't know about NFTs. What is NFTs? Why are all these people in our city? But in general, the people were really friendly and the food was nice, but it wasn't as big as what I was expecting. Uber Eats was expensive, but yeah, it was quite different to what I was. That was the thing that surprised me. I was expecting large food. I don't think that happened, and I wasn't expecting the people to be as friendly. So I'm sure I can infiltrate the IRS if you need to me. Yeah, I'll send you in. You can find out the inner secrets of the IRS over there, and then we can get a plan going. So yeah, that was something. Did you do any tours or sightseeing? Not really. I did a little bit of sightseeing. I didn't have a lot of time. Like, I flew in. So I landed on Tuesday about 5 p.m. I wandered around for about an hour or so just to try and find some food. Struggled, so I ended up getting Uber Eats because all I could find in Minneapolis was either restaurants. Couldn't find any like fast food takeaway or just delis or corner stores, anything like that. So, and then the next day, I did wander around a bit. So we did an Aussie meetup. So we've got an Australian VeeFriends Discord. So we did a meetup there on the Tuesday at a bar, and we just pretty much went from a few different craft bars that they had, which was really good. And that was most of the lunchtime. So in the morning, I went to Target, which Target there sells groceries. It's almost like a Kohl's combined with Kmart, combined with a pharmacy, combined with BWS. Like, they sell pretty much everything there. So I had a look around there. Had a bit of a wander around, just the downtown area in Minneapolis then, but didn't have a huge amount of time because we were catching up. So we walked. We did walk. We walked across town to where we were caught up for this bar. So that was good. Got to see a little bit around, but not a huge amount. And then, on the Thursday morning, I went for a bit of a wander again through their sculpture garden they have there. And then I headed off to Mall of America. So that was America's largest mall that they have. So that was my kind of one sightseeing, and then it was the welcome party that night, VeeCon the next 3 days, and then back home. So yeah. Did you try any American things? No, I had a whole bunch of food places I wanted to try, and I just didn't really get to them. The only one I did get Chick-fil-A and Papa John's. That was about it. They were the 2 food places I got to try. I didn't really get to try a huge amount of things or do a lot of the American culture things. I would have loved to get to a sports game across any sports, but just didn't happen due to timing of, time of year and what was on. There was a baseball game on the Monday night that I didn't realize, and I was heading home, so I would have loved to stay one extra night and go to that. But yeah, I didn't get to do a lot. I had all these food places. I'm like, I'm going to try this, going to try this, going to try this, and couldn't find any of them where I was. And I did, I looked on a maps, and they were a few miles away, or as they call them over there. And so I just didn't really get to do a lot of those American things as such. But that was all right. It was the conference was obviously the main thing. I definitely want to travel America much more and do more of a holiday over there. And hopefully one day I'll definitely get back to future VeeCons, and they hopefully will be somewhere else and get to experience a bit more of America. So I'll put on a suit and they won't be able to tell that I'm an octopus. Yeah, definitely. The IRS will not see an octopus in a suit coming in. Did you manage to get some Pokemon Go in? No, I didn't. I haven't played Pokemon Go in, probably 7 or 8 years. So was it difficult getting back on track with Australian time once back in Australia? Yeah, look, so on the way there, so my flight, I got up about 4 a.m. My first flight from Adelaide to Sydney was at 6 a.m. Landed in Sydney at 8 or so. My flight left Sydney at around lunchtime and landed in LA at about 8 a.m. LA time, which was about 1 a.m. Adelaide time the next day. So it started to hit me when I was at LA. I was like, oh, I'm getting pretty tired here because I probably got like 10 minutes of sleep on that long flight. So it was about a 13-hour flight. We then went from LA to Minneapolis, and we landed in Minneapolis at 5 p.m., which was about, I think it was around 10 a.m. Adelaide time from like the next day. So it was about, about 30 odd hours or just over 30 hours since when I'd first got up. So I was really tired by then because I'd probably had about half an hour sleep across those first 3 flights. And I thought, yeah, I'm going to crash here. So I wandered around, got some food, went to bed at about 9. And I probably woke up at about 10 p.m. and had an hour's sleep and could not get to sleep. I was up all night their time and I think I got an hour and a half the next morning. So I probably got about maybe 4 hours of sleep across that first massive. So across about 48, 60 hours, it was just not much sleep. And I really struggled. The next night I did get to sleep. I really struggled over there to get used to it, but I wasn't tired. Like that was the thing. I was struggling to sleep, but I wasn't really that tired. On the way back, pretty good. I got a little bit of sleep. It was hit and miss on the plane, 20 minutes here, 20 minutes there. Probably got 4 or 5 or 6 hours across the few flights this time, which was way better than nothing, and got back into it pretty quick. The first couple of nights I got really tired at, 8 o'clock I'd be fine, and then 8:30 I'd be like ready to sleep. And then was, waking up, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and up from then. It took me a couple of days, but way better on the way back than what I was going there, which, yeah, I guess that's to be expected, I suppose. But yeah, I definitely have learned a few things. Hopefully next time I travel long haul like that with big time zone differences, will go a little bit better. But yeah, definitely a struggle. And obviously, ideally, you'd have more time over there to adjust to it. But yeah, it's a real struggle if you don't sleep on planes. I don't know if anyone else, how they go sleeping on planes. Let me know in the comments what the trick is to be able to sleep on planes. So the next question was, what souvenirs did I get many souvenirs? So not really for myself outside of, so I got I got the VeeCon shirt here. I got a long sleeve VeeCon shirt as well. I got the stickers. So we've got some of the new characters here. I will, if anyone does mint a Rooshock's NFT tonight, I will send you one of these stickers. You can have your pick of one of these stickers. I'll send you one of these. So yeah, this was a sticker pack I got from VeeFriends. Didn't have a lot of merch. The merch was pretty crazy. So the first day, and I also got my hoodie here. So this was my prize piece. This was $106 US, this hoodie. And I probably could have sold it at the conference for $1,000 US. People were flipping them. They wouldn't, this was the prize piece of merch. They were very limited. I got my hands on it. So there was a couple of us, and we went at 6 a.m. We lined up for about 6:15. We got to the stadium on the first day, and the gates were meant to open at 8. But what they did, they opened the gates at about 7:45 and let everyone into almost a waiting area. So all that waiting, we waited in the rain. It was cold. and it was pretty much for nothing. And then they opened the doors to the stadium. It was an all-in stampede, like you see on TV where you see the bloody Walmart Black Friday sales. It was just all in. Everyone was running out. It was quite dangerous. And the merch thing, it was just a mess. There was no organization. But I did manage, after about 2 hours of them waiting for merch, I got to the front of the line, and then they decided this system's not working. We're going to change things up. So I waited 15 minutes while they weren't selling, and then I managed to get. So I got my hands on everything I wanted, but it was pretty crazy. It did get quite dangerous at times, but they were really quick on putting systems in place when they could see things weren't working, which was really cool. So that was good. Yeah, I was quite impressed with how they were quick to adapt to things. But yeah, it was, yes, but I got my hoodie. That was my prize piece. That was the one I really wanted. I wasn't expecting to be able to get anything else, but I managed to get, the shirt, managed to get a long sleeve shirt, managed to get some stickers. Chris has asked if there was any chicken stickers. I'm not even sure if there is a chicken in the VeeFriends collection. I might look that up. But no, I don't have a chicken. What's the closest I've got? I don't really have any. I've got a prey mantis. I guess that's the closest we can call to a chicken. But yeah, so I might have a look to see whether there is a chicken. Anyway, I will look that one up. Jack's asked, how has VeeCon impacted the price of VeeFriends? So it's quite interesting that the NFT market's really down at the moment across everything. All markets down. The stock market's down. Everything's really struggling at the moment. The world's in an interesting place at the moment economically. But VeeFriends held pretty steady. It was the VeeCon tickets. So the VeeCon tickets, the tickets, I think, prior to the conference was around the 0.2 ETH mark. So they definitely weren't what initially they were selling for 1.5 ETH, about 0.2 ETH, which I thought was about right. It's about $1,000 for the conference, which I thought was quite a good bargain, to be honest, for the conference, what you got out of it. As the conference obviously was getting close to a finish, I was really interested in what happened for the price. And then Gary announced the collab with Snoop Dogg, and the VeeFriends tickets went from 0.17 ETH, and I think some actually sold for 1 ETH while that talk was going on. Like, people were just buying them up. So it was pretty crazy that the conference didn't necessarily have a huge impact. They've held steady, VeeFriend 1 and 2. I don't think it was ever really about that, purely because the whole market is down, and VeeFriends has held pretty good compared to some other projects. But yeah, the VeeCon tickets, that was the interesting part with that. So I try to adjust to the time zone and weeks leading up to international travel. I found that last time bouncing Perth, LA, and New York hurt more than it should have. Yeah, that's what a few people I spoke to. They said they try and start to move their, time clock a little bit as they're leading up to it. And I guess it depends on whether you can sleep on planes and try and get in with that, or how you go. I mean, for me, like I said, didn't really impact because I didn't really get tired while I was over there. I was just busy. Like, if anyone watches the Jesse Itzler thing, great. I don't get tired. It's my special power, but you'll get that if you watch that. But yeah, it was quite interesting that I think some people adjusted really well and some really struggled. But yeah, that would be something I think I'd try, is maybe just try and move my body clock a bit like that. Maybe some sleeping tablets or something like that to get organized chaos. I love it. Yeah, it was organized chaos. I don't even know if it was organized, but Gary himself said, look, he loves that kind of chaotic thing. That's him. So as much as he knows that wasn't ideal, but it was chaos at times. I mean, one stage there was a lineup for selfies and it just wrapped around. And then I ran into Gary. He was like 10 meters to the left that no one had seen. He was getting photos, and I almost scored a Steve Aoki ticky off him. Like, I was this close to meeting him then, but it was like, yeah, so some people would line up for ages for stuff and get that. Other people scored merch. Like, there was some chaos, and they've already said that next year there's going to be not limited merch. They're not doing that again because it just caused too much chaos, but it was that. So was there a lot of hype around owning specific VeeFriends at the conference? Look, there was definitely the biggest one that I definitely seen was the flex was the gift goats. And the gift goats is one where people are getting these gifts all the time. And one of their gifts that they have had is a jacket. And so the gift goats, you could see the people that own the gift goats. And, if someone asked me which VeeFriend do you want out of the whole lot, the gift goat is the one I would have wished I would have got. Like, it was out of my price range when it first launched. And they go for, they've gone for 50 ETH plus in the past, which is, at that stage was $200,000 plus kind of thing. But that was kind of the one that I feel like when people knew that someone owned a gift goat, it was definitely kind of like that's top of the line. There's obviously the in particular, so at the conference, they did announce a new new character called the VeeCon Viper. But yeah, there wasn't really, I wouldn't say any particular, I mean, they had lots of stuff showing, big inflatable black cat. They had like, you could definitely see the characters that are going to be the key characters in the early times. But, Gary also said his plan is to develop all of these characters out. Now, whether some of them, like he's, use the example before, is maybe all the water-based animals get put into a kid's cartoon show that are all in together, like a group of ones. Like some will have their own, like some of these are the series 2 characters on here. So the Red Devil is going to be one of the big characters kind of thing. So, there were certain characters that definitely you could see were, more important as such. But yeah, I wouldn't say there was anything in the conference specific. They've just announced some utility for the competitive clown, which is a series 2 character where they're getting free tickets to a pickleball tournament. Gary's bought a pickleball team, if anyone knows what pickleball is, and renamed him. The clown is now I think I've got the clown in my little stickers here. So the clown is now the mascot for that. So for those that, which was really cool. So things like that. So what was the male to female ratio like? Unfortunately, there's probably only about 20% of the people there female. So I had a few chats to a few Australian females there talking about how can more females get involved in the space, and why do sometimes females feel like I feel like sometimes they think they're not entitled to be involved in investing and stuff, but they definitely are. And it was good to see there was a range of females, from younger females to people that were in their retirement age and nowhere in between. But there was a lot of talk and there was a lot of female-based projects. So there's definitely a push to try and, it should be split. It should be 50-50 in the industry. And it's not at the moment. And how can more females get involved and feel comfortable that there's a space where they can learn about NFTs? And, there's definitely those projects out there that are aimed at females. They've got female creators and stuff. But yeah, there definitely was that. It was a noticeable that, probably that 80-20 split. And, there definitely needs to be more push to get more females in the industry, because there's no reason why they can't be involved. We're creating a new ecosystem here with NFTs, and there's so much new technology and stuff. So, there was also talk about minority communities and stuff and how can they get involved. And yeah, that's the thing, is that's what there needs to be, that push. So yeah, 20% is usually good for a crypto thing. And I think, some of those females were there because they had a partner that brought them along. So, I met a few people, and it's like, I did ask them, oh, how are you involved in VeeFriend? It was like, oh, yeah, my husband's involved and he's brought me along. But yeah, it was definitely some that are there off their own bat, which is really good. And they were, some of them have got their own projects or got their own things they're doing in the space. And, one of the things I really found really cool in the space is there's so many people building so many different things that you don't even realize the technology behind this. It's not about the money. When we get past wanting to make money off NFTs is when it's going to get really fun, because there's so many different, I talked to someone, they're like, well, will a house deed be sold on as an NFT? And then the architect that designed that house that's put hours and hours and hours, when there's a future sale, they might get 0.1% of it. Like, there was talk about, crazy things that people are developing with the technology. So, which is really cool. So I tried to get in for free as a crowd beach ball, but got caught out pretty quick. So the ponderous pufferfish, yeah, look, maybe there's a market for a pufferfish NFT, and maybe it can go well with the octopus NFT. So I think more ladies should attend these events. There were some really good speakers there as well, female speakers. Mila Kunis, there was Eva Longoria. Like, there was females that are leading. And now I've forgotten her name. She was a WNBA player. Trying to lead the space and saying why females should be involved in this space, and there's no reason why they can't be. So it was really, really interesting that, yeah. So handbag NFTs will go like hotcakes, I reckon. potentially. There was one more question was, what souvenirs did you get for us all? Well, my souvenir was this story. I'm getting to tell you about it. But no, the biggest thing that I took out of it that I can share with people is, like, there's so much I want to do for my own project to, that I learnt through community building and stuff like that. And, that reaffirmation that people are, like, interested in the utility of the project got, but it's like, okay, what else can I do for people beyond this? And, the connections I made that I'll be following up on, and, talking to more people to create more connections to keep building up, because the more connections. And that's one thing I really noticed with Gary. It was like, he has so many connections to so, that he could make the call and say, Snoop Dogg, I want you to come speak at the conference. And just let me talk about Snoop Dogg for a second. Wow, that man is popular. Like, the crowd loved him. They just flocked to the front of the stage. We were sitting second row, and it was like 4 or 5 people deep standing in front, to the point where on stage, Gary and Snoop eventually had to say, look, can you guys go back to your seats? They just loved him. He was so popular. But those connections that Gary's built allowed him to throw a conference like that. And, really made me realize those connections, the more connections and networking I can do, allows me to bring more value back to my community. So that was something that was really important to me. And hey, why can't we have RooshOckCon one day? Is it going to be a thing where I can, talk about tax and NFTs and those kind of fun things? I want to do an in-person event eventually. It's not going to be at that scale to start with, but I'd love to do something. I spoke at the Crypto Adelaide, the Aussie Crypto Roadshow the weekend before I went to VeeCon, and really enjoyed that. And I want to try and do something in person. That's the worst souvenir ever. Well, I could give away a sticker if someone really wants a sticker, but you're going to have to give me a good reason why you want a sticker. But that's something I want to do. I spoke at that and talked about, doing something in person eventually with, meet up with the, whether it's the NFT holders of Discord or the broader community. So want to do that, and we can talk about NFTs and tax is fun. Yeah, look, people don't like taxes. It's not the most fun topic, but where it gets fun is when we can talk about things beyond tax, business and NFTs and growth and all those kind of fun things. They're the fun things. Like, the compliance side of tax isn't the fun things, but it's the other stuff that it allows you to do. And so I've got to talk about, talked about people that are building real projects, and it's really exciting and stuff. I've got someone that's building a project around running. You've got people that are building, art-based projects that are around generative art and really cool stuff in those spaces. So there's lots of different cool stuff and lots of cool connections and stuff. So really excited to roll some of that out and, implement stuff within my own project and, keep growing like that. And outside of VeeCon, we're coming up to tax time. So for those that it's on my Facebook page, but I'm now starting to take individual tax return appointments. So I do some in person, but do stuff over the phone. And then obviously for others, we do it via email and stuff like that, which is really cool. Obviously, business stuff is, still doing a little bit of tax planning. We've done most of that, but wrapping that up. But if people are interested in that, I'm still doing that. And then, it's gearing up for the start of July, and then it'll be into, tax returns and stuff like that. It'll be pretty good couple months of, getting lots done. And I do a lot of planning in this time as well in, all my spare time I have, doing a lot of planning around, making sure my business runs efficiently so I can provide more services to more people, doing more of the crypto bookkeeping stuff. So lots of stuff going on. So glad you enjoyed it. No, I really did. Like, I honestly think people should go to more in-person events. And I always was a big but do you actually network? And this was the first event where I really did network and really actually come away with it. Like, that was good. Like, I got more out of it than just the speakers. Like, people asked me, like, what was the best part? And like, I know Gary was saying that pre-event was like, it's going to be the network, it's going to be the connections. And I was kind of, I'm here for the speakers. And like, honestly, it was the connections. And it's like, I almost got more out of the days where it was like you're just catching up with people over dinner and drinks than what you did at the conference. Like, and that shows how powerful the community was, that it's like you could actually have genuine conversations with anyone from anywhere. Like, it's just like, I got to the stage where like people would tell me where I'm from in America, and I knew how far that was away from conversations I had prior with other people. It's like, you're from Boston. Oh, okay, that's a few hours north of New York, for instance. Like, it's like, this was, I'm from Chicago. Oh, was that about a 4 or 5 hour drive? Like, you started to have those conversations, and people appreciated that you'd started to do that. So Real Madrid over Liverpool. We're not talking soccer tonight. We're not talking that. I did run into a Liverpool fan at VeeCon, and it was the day that we lost. We missed out on the title, and bit of a shame. He was from London, so that was a cool part when you could talk to people from different countries and you try and find that common talking point. And it's like, if you didn't have one, it was VeeFriends. It was your conference. But then it's like, okay, what else do you know? And it was like, I ran into someone from Adelaide while we were waiting to get into the welcome party who lives about 10 minutes away from me. So it was just like, I had no idea that they were coming to VeeCon. Like, that was a crazy part to, you just don't expect that when you go all that way. So if anyone's got any more questions, fire them at me. But it was a really cool experience. I'm glad I was able to, put the vlog together. I've had some good feedback. So if you haven't gone, check the vlog out. Go and check that out. I've got, obviously tonight's live. If you're watching on replay, I appreciate you watching through. And like I said, it's all steam ahead. We're almost into tax time. So if you are wanting tax planning or anything like that, get on to me soon about that. And like I said, the NFT project, I'm hoping before 1st of July, I've got some major changes I want to announce to some of the utilities of tokens that haven't been purchased yet. So that's exciting. And then obviously all the other tokens, like I said, the value has risen as the ETH price drops. At the moment, it's the basic ones that come with the 3 tax returns, which now charging $99 for. So normally it's $297 for 3 basic individual tax returns. And with the NFT project, I think that's around the $200 mark. So you're getting a discount plus you're getting the NFT. So how can you go wrong? So I appreciate everyone for sticking by. Adelaide, did you offer condolences? Yeah. Hey, don't diss Adelaide. We're all right over here. But no, appreciate everyone for sticking by. And yeah, like I said, if you did mint an NFT, I'll go and check, but maybe I can send you the toad or one of these cool stickers that I have. Appreciate it. Hopefully, maybe next year I can score some, or next time I go to VeeCon, I'm maybe score some merch and do some giveaways. But I'm not giving up my hoodie at this stage. Maybe if someone goes and mints like 100 NFTs or something, I'll send you the hoodie. But we'll go from there. So appreciate everyone for sticking by, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.